framing with your.
Welcome to the Shakedown. I am here with special guest Malone, and if you don't know, I am Ryan, aka Rainforest. I spent 6 years in Texas prison, and I got a degree in sociology, specializing in social welfare while I was in there, and that's where I met
We all know
Malone.
what that's worth.
Yeah, exactly. We do know what that's worth. We're going to discuss that today, actually. And then that's where I met Malone, who spent 30 years in prison. And along with being a professional artist now, he is also an expert in orangutan cage fighting. And we also have another special guest who does not like appearing on camera tonight. And
He just was here.
that is Dave Brown.
Here he is.
Here he is. He's
Here he
coming.
is. Yeah, that's him.
There we go. Who just moved into his new place where they are live from tonight. And so yes, kind of. And tonight we're going to talk about accomplishments. So let's go ahead, Malone. All right, I gave you the intro. Go. What did you want to say?
Well, first of all, I don't know why I'm talking about accomplishments because I really have, like I mentioned earlier, feel like I'm rather light in the accomplishment category. I mean, I've done some very basic things that pretty much all humans that are my age do, and those feel like accomplishments to me, which is kind of sad. I mean, because as we know, it wasn't too long ago that I couldn't even find my way back from the corner store that's less than 5 minutes from here. And so that's why, the talking about accomplishments doesn't sound like something I should be doing.
And Dave and I were both got on Malone's case because Malone actually has a bunch of accomplishments.
Okay, all right.
One is just a simple fact that he's had a job since he's been out of prison this entire time, which not many people can say for themselves.
He also has an apartment.
Oh, yeah.
I still have an apartment.
No, but when first walking out of prison, he didn't have to go to a halfway house or any of that shit. So.
I will say that I was told by everybody in prison, whenever they would ask me what I planned on doing when I was getting out, and I told them, I'd like to get my own place, my apartment. They all laughed at me and told me it's impossible for me to get my own apartment, that no apartment will ever rent to me because of my having been in prison. And I have gotten 2 apartments.
Right.
I've already turned down for an apartment.
And so has Dave now. So that is pretty badass for everyone involved. And I've gotten a place too, which unlike you, did not get an apartment when I first got out. I spent the first part of my time out with my lovely mom. So yeah.
And having survived that is also an accomplishment.
That is an accomplishment.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes, surviving a Jewish mother is always an accomplishment.
Miss Forrest, please don't take that.
No, she knows this is what she expects when I talk about her. She's waiting for my Mommy Dearest book to come out any day now.
Oh, come on. Can't be that bad.
No, she's literally expecting it.
Notice I'm drinking Monster.
Oh, gosh.
Out of a pink can.
Notice on my new iPhone.
That's right, Apple and Monster. The Shakedown is currently looking for sponsors. So if you are looking
I don't normally write stuff, but when I do, I use a Sharpie.
Nice.
If y'all experience any surge in sales.
And if you ever want to cut somebody, Benchmade is the way to go.
That's going to hit the editing room floor.
Oh, man. Yeah. We're going to be rolling in sponsors any day now.
And you know what's great for a great snack while you're doing podcasts? Del Monte canned pineapples.
Oh, yes. That sounds like a perfect snack. I'm just going to pop one of those cans open and whenever I'm feeling a little nippish.
Get in touch with your inner Hawaiian.
Yes, we can clearly see the Hawaiian.
Exactly.
Because I can see clearly now. The rain is gone.
Or he can see clearly because he has his glasses on.
It's true.
So, all right, so one thing we brought up too, you talked about Mo, who first off, the reason we brought up Mo was because before the show, which in the pre-show, which we will actually have little bits of that I can release online now, which will be fun. But we can.
Much better than the real thing, the pre-show.
Yes, the pre-show where you can see what we're like.
That could be
off the camera.
That could be like much better than the real thing. That could be an advertisement slogan for a male sex toy. Much better than the real.
Oh, that would be a great, looking for sponsors. That's, we can always go down that route.
That's right.
Oh.
We are definitely going under the explicit header for this episode. So we're going to, so we talked about Malone he's become a professional artist since getting out, which was one of his goals. And, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, one of my lifelong goals and dreams. Yep.
In fact, he designed the shirt I'm wearing right now, the Warp Ranger hoodie that I'm wearing right now, that you can even purchase online and support Malone's hustle.
How come we can't see your Warp Ranger hoodie?
Well, you may not be able to because you're looking at a camera from a camera, but the audience at home can see the Warp Ranger designed hoodie. And
awesome.
That was designed, that was drawn by Malone and inked and colored in by yours truly. So so that is something as well. What was that, Dave?
I said you like to color.
He's gonna be sick with whenever I start dropping these pages on him here in the near future. I can hear it now. It's gonna be. I remember how frustrated he was with that one. He's acting now. He's all proud of it. But whenever that first happened, he was like, "I am never. You're gonna have to find someone else. Buy a tablet, something." He swore he would never do it again.
It wasn't inking in this. It was doing the lettering for the comic. That's when I was
doing the lettering.
Yeah,
that was
that's what broke my soul.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Somebody was actually asking about that just the other day on Instagram.
Right. The lettering on the comic, that was a severe pain, and I have yet to find a better way to do it. There might be a better app, but that's a whole different tangent. Which, speaking of which, another...
He didn't even get credits for it in the comic book.
No. Yeah. Yeah, there's two names on the cover, and one of them is Malone, but the other one definitely isn't Rainforest. And you have to go flip to the back cover.
He has a special mention.
Yes. Special mention to the guy who published the book.
The bios of those two names in the back of that comic book, he probably appreciates that it wasn't him that was on the front cover, whose name wasn't on the front cover.
Yes. But speaking
He'll have his moment in the sun, though, with the next issue, trust me.
Right. But here's the thing. Speaking of accomplishments, you also, both of us actually, we had a table and hosted a panel at Fan EXPO, which
that was so huge. I felt like such a rock star during that.
I've shown that video to people here, and they think they love it. Everyone who watches that video is super impressed, and they love watching that video and hearing about everything. And I can't wait to sign up. I'm gonna sign us up for at least 3 panels to do 3 panels at the next one. Which that's another thing. We're gonna have a booth. 3, 1 each day. Which
I think maybe you.
I'm sure you guys have seen Home Alone and thought, how cool would it be?
Would you mind turning down your phone, Dave, please? We're in the middle of a podcast here. You might be biting off more than you can chew. Maybe you might be disappointed with the outcome of that. I mean, I was shocked that anybody showed up at all for the first one. That might have been lightning in a jar, in a bottle, or whatever the term is.
So one thing. So those of you, if you want to watch that panel, that is in our, like, you can look at our podcast. There's us at Fan Expo, the Shakedown at Fan Expo. That is the episode we're talking about. And you can actually watch it on our YouTube channel and see what we're talking about. And for those of you, you can't really tell in the video how big the audience is, but we were actually the last panel of the entire convention. When we
The
got
last
done,
panel, we were in the second to the last hour altogether of the convention. I mean, everybody's going home.
right? There were,
And whenever we walked up, we were looking in the room of the people that were before us, and there was like 2 people in there all together. I just knew we were going to be speaking to an empty room.
right. When we were doing that panel, like, yeah, so 2 people came out of the room from the panel before ours. Then our panel was the last panel of the day. There were not going to be any panels during that last hour because the people who put the panels together, they were actually they were going to pack up the rooms for that last hour. And then they just left the convention floor open for that final hour. And so when we finished up our panel, we had 10 people come to the panel, which I was at Fan Expo the year before. 10 people at a panel, that was like a medium-sized panel, a medium-sized audience for the panels at the last one. And so I was surprised that we got that audience. And then on top of it, what happened at the end was that every single person, including the volunteers who were there just to monitor our panel, all went upstairs and bought comics from us.
Some of them bought more than one comic.
Right. Because they know that Aaron Malone is going to be one day be making all sorts of comics all over the place once he has some time to do some more drawing and spend time on that. And maybe once I have some time doing some storytelling.
Break away from the day job.
Right. So.
And I appreciate.
No, go ahead.
No. I'm just making. I didn't want to sound like I don't have deep gratitude towards my employers because they're keeping me alive.
I understand. I understand the gratitude it is noticed in the fact that you have been so loyal to them for so long. I am the one who gives them crap. I will take full on that one. But yeah, so those are some big ones. And then so what we talked about afterward, like Malone hasn't been able to be a professional artist full time, and he brought up that another inmate, Mo, who we had was in the Jewish community over on the Stringfellow unit. And what were you saying about Mo?
Well,
Could you get a job as an engineer?
right. I'm saying that degrees, and so we were mentioning how people with all these fancy degrees and so forth consider that to be such an accomplishment. But I was debating whether or not that is such an accomplishment, considering how many people we know with master's degree or more that cannot find employment in their particular field. They have the paperwork, the diploma. They have the bragging rights of having accomplished all that, and they paid for it, but they can't do anything with it. So, is that really all that great of an accomplishment? That was coming on the heels of another discussion we had, because I mentioned that, how hollow the accomplishment is of just being gainfully employed, because really I'm leaning very heavily on a friend of mine, another guy that I was locked up with, and was also in part of the Jewish community that I knew for a long time, who was in a similar position to me. We were both locked up in the early 90s as teenagers, and he's helping me out. And I don't think I would still have that job at all, because I am terrible at this job. I am off. I would have been fired 20 times if it had not been for the fact that I personally know these people that own the business. And of course, Asian Dave then said, well, that's par for the course, because pretty much everybody that gets in positions in life generally does so through people they know, and not necessarily through their own personal merits.
I mean, you can even relate it to prison. People in prison, like the people that have like, you couldn't get a job in the craft shop unless you knew
Please come
somebody.
in over here in the camera, Dave, so that you're not just a disembodied voice. Everybody wants to see your pretty face. You're gonna have to get over here. Come on over. Come on, little fella, come on over here.
Just get my bald head right there. That's it.
But he was saying that it's that way in prison as well, and he's to a certain extent right. I mean, prison Rainforest has some very firsthand experience with how you get jobs and how jobs are maintained and so forth in prison. And it's not to the merit of how well you do your job. It's generally because of how well you manipulate the people that you work for.
Don't brew wine in the kitchen. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, we watched that, or at least I got to watch that with Dave. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a lot of it is not necessarily about merit. It's about knowing people, but also that is a skill. That is you got to know part of like they got to know you, Malone, too. You have to realize is they understood what type of person you are, and even if you didn't have the basic skills on whatever you're doing, they knew that they could rely on you because they got to know you. So that's a big part of it. And the other part of it,
if Roger, my direct boss, the guy that's over, if he ever sees this podcast, he's going to laugh himself into a stroke whenever he hears what you just said. Anyways, keep going.
Well, I would say that, and the other thing I would say too on that is that is about Mo. The thing I really wanted to say was about Mo. So you also brought up the fact that we don't know what people are in for, and I can totally attest to that. I don't know. I haven't looked Mo up. I haven't done my research on it. But what I will say is the stories I heard about Mo is the fact that he had gotten so ridiculously many DUIs. I did not see what happened. What the heck happened?
Sorry.
For those in the audience who don't know, Dave has some of the worst farts going on right now, and apparently they're really bad, and they are destroying Malone.
I'm having to sit there and try to keep a straight face while this guy is just marinating me in mustard gas. Oh my God! I can't do it no more. I reached my tolerance. I'm 30 years in prison. You think I'd be able to tolerate some gas?
Nope.
Wow.
No, you're not. And yeah. Even after Dalhart unit, where I was trapped and next to a pig farm, and had to like remember those nights like tucking myself under the covers, trying to breathe. One well-timed fart will knock you out.
I'm pretty good at that.
It seems like.
Horrible.
I have accomplished making Malone sick, so I have achieved a goal today.
Dave has another achievement other than his many achievements.
I didn't realize it was going to be a goal or an achievement until recently, but it worked out pretty well.
He didn't know how. It wasn't until he realized just how satisfying it is to disgust me to my core.
I am such a child too. When it comes to farts.
Just when it comes to farts.
I'm not like tethered to one particular place. I can escape them. Not this time. Oh God. Look what I found, people.
Nice. There we go. Perfect. All right. All right. Let's get back to Mo because we're getting on our last 5 minutes here. But
all right. Sorry about that. But what we were talking about, you were using Mo as an example because he is someone who has a master's degree in electrical engineering, and he couldn't use it.
Well, he said he said he couldn't find a job in electrical engineering, and as he had
to become a simple mechanic, which is something that you can, learn to do with a simple, trade.
A high school diploma,
High
most
school
likely.
diploma, right, does not require a high master's degree,
Right.
and that's what he did with his life.
And this is the thing I'm going to say to that is that when I first went to school, I went to school for computer engineering, and which is half electrical engineering and half computer science. And a lot of people, what they did with their electrical engineering degree is exactly what I did with computer science, and actually electrical engineers, you had an even broader range because computer engineering was specifically for you were going to make circuits, like circuit boards or computer chips when you get out. But you were going to make a lot of money when you got it because not many people had that degree. And then on top of it, electrical engineers, they could work on like the government and everything. They're constantly looking for electrical engineers. There's all sorts of jobs that are looking for people with electrical engineering degrees. Now,
Really?
really, yeah. And the reason I was going to say that Mo wasn't going to find an electrical engineering job and why he was having issues with it was because of what people were saying was his issue, which is that he got multiple DUIs. And if you let him out tomorrow, he was going to go drink again. Which he bragged about many times. So that's the reason why he had a hard time with employment. Like that's the issue.
I think that his original application. I mean, he actually applied for a job as an electrical engineer. At one point, I think he did have a job as an electrical engineer, but it didn't last very long. The company laid him off. They had too many electrical engineers, and after that, he couldn't find employment doing it ever again. If I remember his story correctly. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I don't think any of that had anything to do with him being drunk because he didn't have that record yet. It wasn't until later on in life, and he was already invested heavily into the idea of just being a mechanic. Because of course he eventually opened up his own shop.
I've been laid off as a computer scientist, and I've been able to find work again. I got laid off in 2008 when they weren't hiring again. There was a hiring freeze at that time, and computer scientists compared to electrical engineers were a dime a dozen. There were way more computer scientists than there were electrical engineers at that time, and so I hear it's just like I really.
Do you agree with Asian Dave's statement that most of these people that do have those jobs, it's a matter of not necessarily their merit or their accomplishment, but just who they know? Or do you think that do you think that it would pan out for most people if they so decided, okay, they set their heart on it? How many kids grow up and tell you, I want to be a marine biologist. I want to be able to, go out there and swim with dolphins or something and study killer whale behavior. I mean, and how many of them that get those degrees that go to college to become that actually ever get to do anything with it? I mean, there can't be that many people out there getting paid to be marine biologists.
Well, I will tell you that it's a combination of two things, and this is actually the formula I've heard for success in life. And one is there's a large chunk. If you hear a lot of people who are really successful and famous and things like that, they will tell you the story they'll always automatically go to is their lucky chance, their lucky break, where they met this person or they got this opportunity opened up, and it was just by pure chance. It was no merit. There was no skill involved in it. It was just being at the right place at the right time. But the thing is that they had been doing the thing that they had wanted to do for so long and been pushing so hard at it for so long at that point that when that opportunity popped up, they were ready to take advantage of it. If you aren't ready to take advantage of it, then that lucky break means nothing. you won't gain anything from it. So it's a combination of the two.
I'm not hearing that's a combination of the two because it doesn't sound like they're merit as in the skill that is associated with whatever field that they're trying to get into. It sounds to me like it's just more of the determination. But do you think? I mean, are you literally telling me you think that everybody that's employed, as a matter of, or the majority of people that are out there that are employed in these jobs, these big positions, are there due to some kind of lucky happenstance?
So
Just they were dedicated to it. They really wanted this job, and so they stuck it out, and the opportunity arose, and so you're suggesting that everybody in life do that. All these marine biologists, all these little girls that want to go out there and play with Shamu, are going to be able to eventually do that if they all stick with it.
No, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is that it's a buildup. Like it stinks. This is one of the things they talk a lot about in sociology is that people.
It's a buildup.
It's a buildup of benefit.
Answering my
No, like let me.
Combination of the two.
Like it's
Personally,
So the reason you get to like someone well enough to get that awesome job is because you've already had, like, if you were born in New York City in Manhattan and you lived already, you're already immersed in this super connected group of wealthy people. So you're going to already have a bunch of advantages that other people don't have. And you're going to have connections just because you're living and was born in that area that people don't have access to. And because you're living there and you're around these people all the time, they'll get to know you, and then you'll get to see these opportunities that other people just don't even know exist. And like if you go, like one of the biggest advantages people say about going to an Ivy League school, it's not the quality of the degree. That's not the thing that's really the advantage. The advantage is
the connection you make.
Yes, it's the connections you make while you're there.
Which
I can see that.
Which it equals who you know.
Right, who you know.
That falls in the who you know category. That's what I'm waiting on is for you to pick a side in this debate and stick with it.
Yeah,
you keep on.
You don't join a fraternity. You join a fraternity for one of two reasons.
Vacillating between the two ideas.
Either make contacts or because you're gay. One or the other. So.
That was excellent. I love that.
I'm shaking my head on that. I'm scratching my head on that. I didn't get that joke.
But Malone, there's because you weren't exposed to many fraternities, and thank goodness, Malone, because they would corrupt the hell out of you.
That's so much better than I went to prison.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of gays in prison too.
Right.
There are?
We have to wrap this up.
Hear how Rainforest just laughed? I think you're right.
Not be the sexy bump, but it's the sex you're gonna get.
I remember his fist bump too. He got that one fixed though.
Oh my God.
Hey Dave, come over here and let's show the world what
Oh gosh.
Listen. That's how he fist bumped. Let's do it again. Do one more time. There was, first and foremost, he had the wrist thing wrong. He held his wrist wrong, and he would go in and he would scoop up whenever he fist bumped. So you go to him, hey, what's up, man? And you put your fist out like that, and he.
Not to mention, he had a disco yarmulke that was like fluorescent orange that just like glowed.
That I stole from Hudson. That was great.
That yarmulke screamed.
No, that yarmulke was dope as fuck, dude. That so fit him because I mean it just looked so right on all that red head thing he's got going on with his skin.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Was colors.
We have.
And of course, he never had to worry about getting shot while he was hunting.
we have to wrap this up. This has been an awesome episode of the Shakedown. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Malone. Thank you, Asian Dave. Thank you, all of our.
We'll be more serious next time.
Yeah, right.
And thank you for all of our future sponsors. And good night. The Shakedown was produced at Longmont Public Media. And our theme song, Shakedown, was brought to you by Envato Elements. If you want any Shakedown merchandise, or you want to support the show, you can go to waywordpress.com. That's WAYWORD press.com.